the most badass guy I know, my grandpa, 91 years old, lived in Nazi-occupied Germany during World War II. Grandpa, please introduce yourself and tell us your story.
My what?
Introduce yourself. What's your name?
My name is Martin Rapp.
And where did you grow up?
I grew up in Mindelheim, Germany.
And what year was that? When were what year were you born?
Oh, that was 1932
1932.
to 1950.
So you lived in Germany from 1932 to 1950.
That's right.
And then, so when you were obviously, so you're born in Germany, right?
Right.
And you lived in Nazi-occupied Germany, correct?
Okay.
And what was it like living in Germany during that time?
Oh, it was actually quite colorful.
Was it?
Yeah, in a way, you cannot talk or voice your opinion too much about the government.
Okay.
Because I wasn't old enough to realize what's being played. And old Hitler, he had the right idea. He was not a dummy.
No.
No.
So what do you mean you couldn't say certain things when you're a kid? Like even as a child you couldn't say certain things?
Well, that's right. Nobody actually condemned Hitler.
Okay.
Because the whole nation was brainwashed.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy times. What was because you were growing up, so you're born in 1932. Like, was there lots of food? Was there prosperity, or was it bad?
We had a lot of food. We never went hungry.
Okay.
But my dad, he was a pretty good provider. And my mother was a damn good cook.
Yeah?
Yes. And we had a lot of potatoes.
Potatoes.
And that was our main course. Potatoes could be cooked in many different ways.
Yeah.
And she cooked them every way that possible.
And what was your favorite way to have potatoes cooked from your mom?
Oh, mashed potatoes was just about
Was the best?
the tastiest, yeah.
Yeah. And then what did you do? Like, what did you do for fun when you were younger? Like, what did you play sports?
Oh, yes, we got mostly soccer.
Yeah.
And biker.
And biking.
But yeah, with the biker, yeah. But soccer is I would say the most popular sports. Of course, there was skiing in the wintertime.
Mm. So you were close to the mountains then?
I was close to the hills, and we had snow. I would say on the average between November and I would say sometimes we still had snow in May.
Still snow in May. And how was skiing done back then? Did they have chairlifts or what did you do?
Oh no, we walked. We didn't have any lifts or to take us up and down on the ski hill.
So you had to walk
You
up
have
the
to
mountain?
walk up, down, and ski down.
Really?
Yeah.
So you had to carry your skis up and trudge through the snow?
Yeah, well, actually, we didn't carry the skis. We just left them on their feet, and they walked up there.
Okay, so you had ski skins. Yeah. Cool. And then, how many runs would you get into a day?
How many who?
How many times could you go down the mountain in one day?
Oh, heavens. There's 10 times go down.
So you climbed the mountain 10 times.
Yeah, the hills.
The hills, yeah.
There's different hills. Like the city was in a valley,
Yeah.
and the river was down on the bottom.
Right.
So you have a lot of hills down to ski.
Right.
And they had one particular section laid out just for a winter sport,
Okay.
for the sleighs and the skis.
Very cool. So you were 32, so when the war started, you were 8 years old, correct?
Yeah.
What was it like having, you're 8 years old, World War II just kicked off. Can you explain what was going through your mind? Like,
no,
how do you handle?
No, you were actually, because at the beginning, Germany was pretty well on the winning side.
Right, so...
So, it was quite nice for a young guy to brag about that army,
So you were
that succession.
So you were excited that Germany was winning the war?
Oh yes, but then how in the hell can you take the thoughts of a 9 or 10-year-old boy? He is always on the winning side.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's still pretty interesting. So, and during the war, did you have any clearly World War II is crazy. You're in Middelheim. Did you have any encounters with the war? Did you have any bombs get dropped on you? Did you ever have
we saw the American aircrafts fly over.
Okay.
But they never dropped any bombs because it was not an industrial town. Right. It just was an ordinary farm town.
So, and then, but during the war, did you have any close calls? Did you ever have a bomb get dropped on you? Did you ever have a...
we had one close call. I guess one bomber came back and he had some bombs still on his... and he flew back over the particular small farm community.
Yeah.
But I guess he forgot there was a war on, and he left his yard light on.
Right. So your neighbor did.
It's what?
Your neighbor forgot his yard light on.
Well, not my neighbors. It was about 4 miles away.
4 miles away.
And in that town, they dropped about 6 bombs, whatever he had.
Really?
Yeah.
And you could feel it.
Oh, we could hear the window rattle, and
holy.
Yeah.
And then, what goes through your mind when that happens? Are you like, holy shit? Were you like, screw you, America, screw you, Britain? How dare you drop a bomb?
No, that was not in our school that we had that hard feeling about the war, or the Americans and the Russians and the Polish and whatever, but we did not condemn them.
Really?
No.
No, really? So how did you feel about the war then?
The attitude towards the war was to win the war.
To win the war.
Win them, yeah.
Yeah, to win, okay. Yeah. To win the war.
But unfortunately, towards the end, we had a better outlook of the situation.
Right.
Because the war started hitting our regular life.
Right, because it was coming to an end, right?
Well, it came to an end, and every time there was the planes flying over, we had a siren going, and we were supposed to be in a shelter, in a bomb shelter.
Right.
But, well, we didn't. When we were small, we went into somebody's garden house and started counting the planes going by.
Right. That's crazy. So, like, the next kind of interesting thing is, like, after Germany lost the war, what happened to you in Mindelheim? Did it affect your living? Did the Allies, the Americans come to your town?
No, it actually didn't affect me at all.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, did it affect your family, your father, your mother? Nothing?
Well, my dad, he had a job in a gravel pit, and they needed gravel or more or less concrete.
Yeah. So he was running the gravel pits in Mindelheim.
And but they needed concrete to rebuild, you know.
Right.
So he was quite busy, and I just got out of school. I finished my 8th grade, and I was learning a trade.
Really?
Yeah.
How old were you? How old were you when you...
14.
So 14. And what trade were you learning?
Shoemaker.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Really? You're going to be a shoemaker?
I used to make shoes, yeah.
Really?
I repaired them, and I made new ones.
Wow. So you're 14 years old. The war is now over, right?
Yeah.
Germany got cut up, but life didn't really change for you.
But everybody wore shoes. And they all stopped breaking down.
Right. So you're always going to be in business.
So we were not out of work. We had oodles of work in that shop.
Gotcha.
And it was only half a mile away from my hometown, from my home, and I could walk that.
Really?
Yeah, every day. But you had to be there by 7 o'clock. That's when my time started to work, and at 6 o'clock we finished.
Really?
So that's
Yeah.
quite a few hours, and that was Monday to Saturday.
Okay. So when did you leave Germany? How old were you when you left Germany?
I was, let's say 18.
And then where did you go?
I went to Canada. I went to Ontario.
Really? And how did you get there? Did you go by plane or did you go by ship?
No, I went to by ship. It was an old troop carrier.
Really?
Yeah.
So what? And then why did you want to leave Germany?
Well, I finished my my trade. I didn't have no work. I was working on the construction.
Okay.
But in the wintertime, construction was not very popular.
No, it's cold as hell.
So I was out of work, and a friend of mine told me about Canada is looking for woodworkers.
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 So now you're going to be a lumberjack.
Yes.
You're going to be cutting trees.
Cutting trees, yes, to actually cordwood.
Cordwood, okay.
Yeah, and then at the end, in the wintertime, the trucks came and picked up the cords.
Okay.
We had a yarder.
A yarder.
A yarder, that, I don't know, it's a big machine. They picked up one cord and pulled them out to a certain place.
Okay.
And then they tightened the cable and lifted up the entire cord.
Okay.
And the truck drove underneath and
put it onto the
and put him down. And that was the top loader.
So that's what you were doing in Canada?
That's what I was doing in Canada. First, we cut them, and then in the winter time, we brought them back to the river.
Oh, and this is in Ontario, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Very cool. And how was, what city was this? Like, was it Hamilton? Was it Toronto?
We were actually in a camp. It was in Stevens, Ontario.
Stevens, Ontario.
Stevens was the town, but it was so small. It was.
We were in Stevenson, Ontario.
Yeah.
And so you're 18, Stevenson, Ontario.
It was on the Canadian Railroad.
Okay. And was that by the St. Lawrence River, or was that up north?
I think on the northern lane. Well, there's two lanes going across Canada. Once went down on the bottom, close to the United States border.
Okay.
And the other one went inland up there. And we were, I don't know how many trains came through there a day, but they're very limited, you know.
Okay. What about, did you have any crazy things happen when you're there? Did you have any close calls? Like?
Okay, yes.
Okay.
We had one close call. When the reason I quit, we had a newspaper.
A newspaper?
A newspaper, and they had an ad in there.
Okay.
Looking for a shoemaker.
Okay. In Ontario?
No, in Peace River.
In Alberta?
In Alberta, yeah.
Okay.
I wrote to Bill Hupfer. He was the name.
Okay.
He was the boss. And I wrote to him and I told him I was a shoemaker and I had the trade and I had the papers and well, I'm looking for a job.
So you didn't want to do wood no more? You didn't want to cut lumber no more?
Well, there was an incident when they pulled the big long stuff, the timbers which are not cut up.
Right.
They pulled them out to a pile, and then on that section they brought a great big saw in, and they cut that.
They cut it up.
In 8-foot length.
Okay.
And they also transported them to the river.
Okay.
Because in the winter time, the river was frozen. In the summertime, when the ice went out, all that lumber went down.
Right.
To I don't remember the lake it went in, but it was one of those big lakes in central.
One of the Great Lakes.
Yeah, in central BC, Ontario.
Right. Like Lake Superior or something.
Yeah. And anyway, one of them, when we had a whistle boy, and he sent a signal to the yarder what to do, to pull in, to tighten the line.
Right.
And I guess he just misread the signal, and instead of just tighten the line and bring the stump up in the air, he started pulling the stump in, or the tree. And the tree got caught on the stump.
Okay.
And it came down, and I don't remember if it's killed the people or just injured them.
Right.
And that was enough for me, and I figured, okay.
I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Get the hell out of here,
Yeah.
And I told, I wrote to the shoemaker, said I'm coming up at a certain day Uh, and he says, yeah, okay. By God, I left and I got my money and I left and I went to train by Peace River.
Okay. So how long did it take to get to Peace River by train? It's kind of interesting.
Well, first I went to Edmonton and I stopped there and that hotel is still there.
Which one?
Oh, that's fairly close to the 109th Street. I don't know, and the railroad station.
Okay.
And I got up and I didn't know what time the train is leaving, but I got up and I was there at 6 o'clock, but that was 12 hours too early. So
you got pissed, didn't you?
Yeah. So I went shopping.
For what? Beer?
No, not for, but I had a meal very close to the railroad station, and then I went. Do you ever see that?
Yeah, your clock is so loud.
No, the whole face is.
I know. It's moving.
Yeah.
I just can't believe how loud it is. It's very loud.
Yeah. It's only the hour. And, well, anyway, I got there at 6 o'clock in the evening and I hopped on that train when I went up to Peace River.
So
but I didn't know the guy, what I was supposed to see, the Bill Hupford, the shoemaker.
Yeah.
So, he actually waited for me when the train came in. Him and his son were at the station. So I figured, okay, I just get out there, look for a cab, and go to the
shoe shop.
To the shoe shop, yeah. But anyway, I picked up my suitcase and went out to the ramps.
Right.
And I stood there. And an old man is about 5'5" or so, came up and he said, "Are you Martin Rapp?" And I says, "Yes." "And who are you?" And he says, "I'm Bill Hupford." Says, "Oh my God." So he says, "Hey Bob, come here, I got him already." That's his son.
Right.
And he had his car parked, so we got into the car and took me home. There, his wife cooked supper or breakfast for me.
How was food? Did she cook good?
It was in the morning. It was, and then he showed me the shop.
Okay.
And he showed me where I lived. It was in his house upstairs.
Very cool. And how was so you get to Peace River, now
that was Peace River.
Now you're making shoes. How long do you make shoes in Peace River for?
Oh, I never made any new ones.
You just resold the old ones.
Just repaired the old ones.
But how long were you in Peace River for?
Off and on for at least 4 years.
You made shoes for 4 years in Peace River?
No, I did not make shoes, but there's a little twist.
There's a twist?
Yeah, we had another guy from Austria, and he was a welder, and he had differences with his boss, and he quit. So he went for looking for a job, and he went to GSI to seismography.
What's GSI?
That's the name, Geophysical Service International.
Okay, so this is an oil company, or?
It was a seismic company. checking out the grounds for possible oil deposits.
Okay, so you're in Peace River. You meet this welder that just quit,
Yeah.
and now he's saying,
No.
"Hey, Martin, there's a thing called GSI, and it's seismic." Is that correct?
So he got a job, and he started talking to the party chief
Okay.
from that crew, and he asked, "Well, you got a full crew?" And he says, "No, I need one more guy
Okay.
with a weak mind and a strong back."
Oh. And you're just like, "That's me."
He says, "I know the guy you're looking for." He came down and he told me, and I went up there and talked to him. And he says, "Yeah, okay, you're hired." So
young and dumb.
for another week or so, I was still in the shoe shop because we did not fly out
Okay.
to the camp.
And what were you? So now you're with a company called GSI. Is that the company?
That's Texas Instruments.
Texas Instruments. Okay.
Yeah. And so I don't know, it was in June, I got my first plane ride.
This is the first time you're on a plane now.
Yes.
Ever.
They said, okay, you have to be at the airport at a certain time.
How old were you when you got on your first plane?
Oh, I was 22.
22. Were you scared?
Huh?
Were you scared? Like this?
No.
It's like whatever.
It was something, you know, something new, something experience. So we got in the plane and okay, I was looking out that window and I was quite happy because I could have the opportunity to fly.
Right. Okay, that's pretty exciting.
It was exciting.
Yeah, where were you flying to? What was what? So now you're a seismic guy.
I told that Bill Hupfer that I got a job there. He says, okay, that's fine, that's good.
Okay.
And he was all for it.
Okay, so he's on your side.
Yeah, and I could come back in from the camp because we were working 40 and 20. We went 40 days working and 20 days off.
That's for GSI.
That was the work schedule. And he says, okay, if you come in there for 20 days, you're perfectly welcome for a room and board, $50 a month.
Really?
Yeah.
So you could come back, stay at his place for $50 a month?
I could live in his place, but I live now for $50 a month.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree on that. So
how much were you making with GSI? How much would you make a month? When you
about 200 and around $250.
So you make $250 a month, $50
Yeah,
for rent?
that was a 40-day.
That was 40 days.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, how much was a beer back then? So we're talking, it's 1960 now, right?
Oh.
Yeah, 1960.
It was quite reasonable. I don't remember how much a beer was.
Okay, so now you're with GSI. You're moving in and out of camp.
Yeah.
You're in Peace River for 4 years. After 4 years in Peace River, where do you end up?
Well, I was I had one sickness.
What was that?
Hemorrhoids.
Okay.
Yeah, and I went to Edmonton to the university hospital and to check me out. And the doctor said, okay, yes, we can put you into the hospital, university, right away.
Okay.
But I said, well, I had a job and had to tell I'm going to the hospital. And I went there and I was in the hospital for, I would say a week.
For your hemorrhoids?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was in there a couple of days before.
Okay.
At that time, it wasn't overloaded.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I told him, and the supervisor was pretty put out, and they said, "What do you expect to do after when you come back out?" I says, "Well, probably just look for another job."
You're a supervisor of GSI, right?
Of GSI.
So you're in Edmonton right now, getting checked up,
Yeah.
and now and then the supervisor is in Edmonton as well.
Well, he used to live in Edmonton. He had main office here in Edmonton.
Okay, for Texas Instruments.
Yeah, but like I said, about 6 years later, they moved down to Calgary.
Okay, so you're getting checked up. You're in
Look,
GSI.
close the door. It's not closed.
So So do you still have work with GSI, or are you just in Edmonton getting checked up?
I'm apparently I never had any break with GSI.
Okay, so you're still working,
Yeah.
and you're just getting sorted out in the hospital.
Well, then I had my car in Edmonton.
What did you have? What kind of car?
A Ford,
A Ford.
a 1950 Ford.
Like a Mustang? What kind of Ford?
No, it was a straight four-door sedan.
So just plain Jane or what?
Yeah, but it was a nice car.
Was it?
Oh yes, oh yes.
Really?
And I was driving one evening after the operation. I had to stay there for a few days, just so everything healed properly.
Right.
And I'm just into my party chief. He was there.
Okay.
And I had a call. He was in the car and with his wife.
Okay.
So he rolled the window down. "Hey, Rap!" So I rolled my window down. He recognized me sitting there right alongside of him. Said, "They got your hole reamed out?" And I said, "Yeah." Says, "Well, come over to the office tomorrow and we can talk about it." So the supply plane went out and the following day, and he says, "Well, if you want to go back to work, we could use you, we could need you." I was a shooter's helper.
Okay. So you were what position were you again?
First of all, I was a jackhound.
A jackhound.
Jackhound, that's the name. Jack Hustler.
Okay, Jack Hustler. And what does a Jack Hustler do?
Yes, play the cheerphone on the ground.
Okay. So now he wants you to come to the office, and now what?
Well, and he told me if you're back ready to work, there's a supply plane going out tomorrow.
To where?
To the camp.
Back to Peace River.
No, that was, oh God, that was up somewhere down up in Hill Lakes, up in the, way up north.
Okay. When did you start getting towards Saudi? And
Oh, that's I would say about 10 years later.
okay, so you're just doing seismic in Canada for 10 years?
Oh yeah, I was up in Fort Nelson.
Up in the territories.
Up in way up north in BC, British Columbia,
Okay.
and I was down in the States.
Where?
Where the hell was it? Colorado.
And you were just doing seismic. You're just blowing charges underground.
There's geez, I had about 50 crews.
Really?
Yeah.
And you were just there to find oil.
And they just transferred me wherever they need me.
So, and then was there a lot of oil in Fort Nelson? Was there a lot of oil in Colorado? Like, or
Oh,
were you hitting
well,
good
I don't
veins?
know if there's oil in Colorado, but we were right at the four corners in Colorado.
Okay.
There's, I don't know, there's four states joined in one corner.
Right. Okay.
Okay, and I was in that section.
Okay.
So the time came, they started up again in Fort Nelson in BC.
Okay.
So okay, they sent me up there.
So when did like did you find, like, did you have a wife? Like, what did you do? Like, when did
Oh well, when I had my ass reamed out,
when you had the hemorrhoids cut out?
I met my wife. She was a nurse.
So she was the one reaming your ass out.
The what?
She was.
No, she was just a station nurse. It was a doctor. She was, at that time, she was not in the operating room.
Okay. So explain the story of how you met Grandma.
I met one, they had two nurses.
Okay.
I met one and I took her out for supper. But I wasn't too hepped up about it.
Why? What was she like?
I don't know. She had different ideas, different. Or she asked different questions, you know. So.
Give me an example. Like, what didn't you like about her?
I didn't like the way she behaved herself.
Okay. And what back then? What was the way she behaved that you didn't like? Was she disrespectful?
Well,
was she not funny? Was
well, first of all, she made fun of the immigrants.
Okay.
She didn't like she figured they should have stayed in their own country.
So she was racist.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I dropped her, and Grandma was
an immigrant.
No, she was right there at the station. It was the second nurse.
Okay.
The two nurses on the station.
Right.
Okay, so I asked her. We went out to on Highway 2.
Okay.
There was a filling station and a restaurant.
Okay.
So I took her out to there, and she was telling me about where she came from.
Okay, and where did she come from?
She was actually adopted by the Mikos.
Okay.
Well, she was very sympathetic, and I really enjoyed it. So.
She was just a kind soul, or?
The way she walked and the way she acted, it was different. It was not. How shall I say? She was different.
Okay.
And she didn't belittle me or anything like this. So I made another date, and well,
what was the second date? What did you do for the second date?
We went out there again to eat.
Okay.
And I took her home, but then I went back to work.
Okay.
And I said, well, I'm looking for a place to park my car. And she says, well, there's plenty of parking room at my place.
Okay.
So, okay, she was taking care of my car, and but she didn't drive because she didn't have a driver's license.
Okay.
That came all later.
Right. So you're parking your car at Grandma's place. You just went to work, and you're working up in Fort Nelson, right? And then you'd come back, and then what did you do? You took Grandma on another date, or
Well, I came back and I phoned her and I says, "Well, I'll be back," and I was down at Army Navy. I was at the commercial hotel,
okay,
and I told her where I was, and she came to pick me up.
okay,
Okay, and then we went out, and one thing led to another, you know.
How long did it take before you and Grandma decided to get married?
Oh, at least a year.
At least a year.
Yeah.
And then, did you have any funny stories about like some funny dates? Did you like what did because you're working on and off out of town,
Yeah.
right? So what did you so when you came back, what would you do?
Well, I thought, oh, nothing. It's just what I do now. Sleep all day.
Okay.
Yeah. And because I knew I was going out in the evening.
Okay.
Yeah, so we went swimming, we didn't go golfing.
You didn't go golfing.
No. And well, we just because she worked for
Hospital.
3 o'clock was her shift,
Right.
and usually at 3 o'clock, well, I picked her up, and she didn't have to walk
Nice.
home from the hospital. It was about not quite a mile.
Right.
And well, after a while, I got on really well with her, and I met some of her friends, and I met some of her mother and father,
Nice people.
and her brothers, and one of her brother was a big tool push.
Okay, on the rigs.
Yeah.
Who's that? Walter.
Earl.
Earl. Okay.
Earl. Well, he's buried here in New Sarepta.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, one thing led to another, and then we were talking about marriage, and I asked her if she would marry me, and she says, "Yeah, but I don't like your job."
Well, that didn't change, did it?
Well, I said, well, but that's the way I earn my bread. Says,
Right.
yeah, okay. Well, anyway, in 19, I don't even remember, when I got married in 57.
Okay.
Yeah, I got married, and we were looking for a place, and she knew Edmonton, and she found a place down at Saskatchewan Drive.
Sorry, Strathcona. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, and we looked at it, and it was an old German couple.
Okay.
Okay, and well, that was already a plus point. I
Right.
could talk to them in the native language.
Yeah.
And that's okay, so we moved in there, and then I don't know, we were both working, making good money.
So you're doing seismic. She's working in the hospital.
Yeah, so we decided to
Make babies.
Well, no, get a house, make a house,
Make a house.
buy a house. And by God, we found one out in Argyle,
Okay.
out there. And I just drove by yesterday, and I didn't recognize the house.
Okay.
It was, well, run down. It wasn't kept up. The fence wasn't kept up. So Ed said, "That is your house. That used to be your house." I said, "It can't be." Because, everything was built in. When I was there was nothing on the other side of Argyle Road.
Yeah.
That there was one big building, and that was Canadian Can Company.
Crazy.
And and we had the pheasants come into the garden and pick on the lettuce or so.
Yeah. So, I got a question here. What was like getting with Grandma? What was like the practice? Like, did you just told Grandma, "Hey, I want to marry you," and she said, "Yeah, let's get married," and then you guys started the family after you bought the house? After you bought the house, you guys decided, like, "Hey, we're gonna start a family."
I went there, and Grandma was a very nice German lady.
Right.
Yeah, and the boy or the husband was pretty good too.
The one that you bought the house off.
And I mentioned it to, okay, we'd like to buy that house, and but I was a little short on
cash.
On cash, yes, because the house was a year old, and he came and looked at it, and he says he made a good buy. Or if you buy this, yeah. And I said, yeah, but I'm kind of short on cash. I said, how much do you need? Well, they wanted 6,000
For the house.
for the no. They wanted 6,000 down, and then that would what he paid into the house so far. But. He bought it, or that particular person bought it cash.
Okay.
And with a mortgage behind it.
Okay.
And I told him, I said, well, he wanted 6,000, so, and he said, okay, you go and get it. He said, well, I only have $1,000 cash.
Okay.
And good old Mr. Miko gave me $5,000
Really?
to buy that house, but that was in the early 70s or the early 60s, yeah.
So, how much was the house actually worth in the 60s?
25,000.
25,000.
Yeah.
Crazy. And then, so you meet Mr. Miko. Grandma's dad gave you some money.
Yeah.
To buy the house. When did you start? When did you start having kids? When did you start having?
1960.
So right, they bought the house, and then you started having kids.
The time I had something to do with her sexually.
So after marriage.
After I married.
So it was.
I promised her we won't have anything to do before.
Really?
Yes.
So it was. So you were pure until you got married.
Right on.
And then you bought the house.
Right on.
And then you decided to make kids. And that was because of religion?
Is what?
Was that because you were Christian or?
No, that was her idea. And
You agreed.
I liked her that much. I agreed with her.
That's crazy. That's crazy from this day and age, you know?
Yeah.
You know? I guess it makes it a lot more special, doesn't it?
We got that house, and of course we got the dog too.
Mindy?
Well, it was. I had one dog before. I don't know what the hell the name was. And I liked that, and I bought her a dog for her birthday.
What did you buy her?
A German short hair,
Okay.
and it came from Ontario.
Okay.
It came by train, and I picked it up at the Southside railroad station. And I gave it to her for birthday.
Cool.
Yeah. She liked the dog, yes.
Cool.
Anyway.
But when did you start going to Libya?
Oh, that was 1963 or 64.
So that's when what?
That's when
You
I
had your first kid.
actually. That's when GSI shot down here in
Edmonton.
Edmonton,
And then you
and they moved to Calgary.
And this is when you started to go overseas, right?
Yes, and
you had your first kid.
They offered me a job, and I was drilling then,
Right.
and they need a driller over in Libya.
So when you went to Libya, can you explain what it was like back in 1963?
Oh,
like,
was
like shitty? What was the culture like? Were you scared? Was it dangerous?
Oh, I stayed in camp.
You stayed in camp and you're in the desert, right? Is it the fucking
But
desert?
we had a house for the whole crew.
Right.
There was 8 crews in Libya.
Mm-hmm.
So they had when you come in from the desert,
Yeah.
you stay in that place. If you come in from outside, you stay in that place.
Was it like guarded with guards with guns, or like was the camp guarded?
How do you mean?
Like, did they have guards with guns to make sure you were protected? Was it dangerous in Libya?
No, there was. You don't see it. You didn't see any guns at all.
Never.
No.
So Libya was pretty safe.
Pretty safe as far as crime goes. Yes.
Right. And how did you find because were the Libyans working with you, or like how did you? Because you were the driller, so you're one of the.
Yes, and I had sometimes 1 and sometimes 2 drill helpers.
And they were Libyan?
Yeah, and I got on very well, and they taught me Arabic.
Did they?
Yeah.
And then how was the food there? Like what? Like
We had
was it pretty enjoyable?
We had in camp. We had our own food.
Okay.
We had some Libyan cooks, and they were cooking European or North American.
Okay, so nothing changed there.
No.
But when you, let's say you're about to fly out, would you ever go to Libyan cities and spend time in that culture, or?
Well, we spent time in Benghazi.
In Benghazi.
Yeah.
And what's Benghazi like?
Well, there was what you call a nightclub.
There was a nightclub in Benghazi. And this is
yes,
a Muslim.
there was a nightclub in Benghazi. And then when Gaddafi came to power,
Okay.
he shut the nightclub down.
So, and Gaddafi, did you agree with this, or did you like the Gaddafi?
No, he was a complete asshole.
Okay. Why?
Oh, yeah.
Why was the Gaddafi an asshole?
Yes. Oh, he wanted to do everything the way he figured the Libby nationals can take there, and he kicked all the foreigners out
Why?
because he doesn't want any foreigner influence in his regime.
And what was the point of this? Do you think it was a good move for him, or do you think it was a bad move? Like, why do you think his mission was?
You could not say, "Oh, those fucking Arabs" and all that. That's already a jail sentence.
You're going to jail.
Oh, that was completely out. So he kicked out the Italians first.
Okay. And what were the Italians doing there?
Well, the Italians were it was Italian, how should I say,
Colony?
colony.
Really?
Yes.
So he was Muslim, right?
He's a Muslim, yeah, he's a Libyan.
Right. So he was a Muslim, Libyan, and it was an Italian colony, and that's how there was nightclubs, right? So the guy came in power and made it completely Muslim.
Well, he kicked the Italians out. That was the first move.
Okay.
And then he kicked all the Europeans out.
So that was your ass. You're gone. Get out.
And then after that, he kicked the Americans out.
And that must have pissed off the Americans.
Yeah. So we were actually producing 4 million barrels a day.
Really?
Yes.
So they got tons of oil there.
Well, Libya got a lot of money.
Right.
And so after they kicked the Americans out, and they figured the Libyans can run the stations, they went down from 4 million to 1 million.
Really? Just because they just lacked the knowledge to do it?
They didn't have it in here.
Right. Well, they just didn't have the experience.
Yeah.
So then, when you got kicked out, what happened? So you're
Well,
working for an American company, and they're like, "Get the hell out of here."
They gave us the choice. You want to come back to the United States,
Right.
or you want to go to Saudi Arabia?
And what did you say?
Saudi Arabia.
Why?
Well, it was a lot of money.
So
Well,
what?
anyway, I like to go foreign. That's
The money.
it was $1,000
For what? A week or?
a month.
$1,000 a month to be in Saudi.
Well, to be foreign, that's the foreign bonus.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's what actually pulled me at the beginning to go foreign.
To get that
I
bonus.
had to get that bonus, yeah. Then,
How do you like Saudi? Saudi was a good time, or
Saudi was a good place, yes. We had, but there was no nightclub or anything like that. No beer, no wine, no whiskey, nothing.
nothing?
It's a complete dry town. When that was, when Gaddafi came in, it was the same thing.
Okay, so Muslim.
Yes, but we kind of got a way around.
How'd you get around it?
Every time I went to, I took some pork in my suitcase,
Okay.
and as soon as they see the meat, like the ham, the hindquarter of a ham,
Right.
and I gave it to the cook, and they were cooking that.
Well, how did you get the liquor in though? How did you get some drinks?
That's the thing.
What?
I had the meat right on top,
Okay.
laying on top. So he asked, "What's this?" Oh,
All of it.
they won't touch pork.
That's how you did it.
They won't touch a pig.
Really?
Yes, they had a bottle of booze underneath.
You clever mother.
Oh, if they would have found, I probably would be still pushing
Jail.
down a chair. Yeah,
Really?
yeah. But I tried it once. I had a bunch of sausages, pork sausage,
Okay.
and I did the same thing. You open it up, look in there. What's this? It says sausage from the pork. Oh, okay. Boom. And ever since then, I had my bottle of
Cognac.
now brandy.
Brandy.
Yeah. And if they would ask what's in there in the bottle, I would have some excuse, some juice from the pork.
Right, juice for the pork, right.
Yeah.
So you're a liar.
And they wouldn't have sampled it. No.
Right.
And but anyway, that's the in Saudi. It was quite easy. And in Libya, they were I don't know, they were Gaddafi. They were dumb as a stick. There's they came in one time, and there was one guy had a portable radio,
Okay.
and he was shaking it because it didn't play.
Okay.
So he just wanted to shoot it.
Okay.
Then I went up there and said, what's wrong? And he says, wash up my voice. Very, very bad, very no good. He says, oh, just a minute. And I picked up the radio, I turned it on. And this music started blaring. Oh, Kois, career. And I gave it to him, and I picked up my suitcase, and he put his Sean Henry down. With a soap or stone. What the hell do you call it?
A soapstone?
Huh?
A soapstone?
Well, it's a soapstone, similar like a soapstone, but you write on the wall.
Chalk.
Chalk, that's
Chalk.
it. I tried to think, oh God.
Yeah, chalk.
Well, anyway, he put the chalk mark on, and the way I walked out.
Okay, so now you're going to Saudi, you're going to Libya, and you have a family of how many kids? 3?
As far as I know, yeah.
Yeah, so you have Mom, Auntie Dawn, and Auntie Lane. Did it like bother you that you were overseas and you had the kids there, or what was your?
That's bothered me at the most. That I'm away from the family.
Yeah.
And
Like
my wife raised the kids, and I told that Elaine yesterday that she did a hell of a job.
She did. Grandma did an amazing job. I just want to know your side, because I know, because I work in oil and gas, and I know, like, where the guys come from. It's just like, I want to provide for a family, I want to give them a good life, right? Like, what was your, I guess, beliefs or your ideology when you were working in Libya and Saudi? Was it, how do I provide for this family to give it everything they need? Like, what was, because clearly there was a reason why you decided to make more money to make sure you had a
Yeah, well, look at it this way. When you have, what was it? I had $9,000
Right.
debt for the house.
Right.
And we had to live every day's groceries.
Right.
So okay, it was for me to think twice. Do you want to do that? Do you want to suffer yourself into stay away from the family, or you want to pay for that house 20 years now.
Right. So now you're talking the sacrifice you made there.
I paid every month. Let's see. I made 4,000 a month.
4,000.
But that went
To debt.
on the house,
Right.
and whatever the wife brought home went for living.
Right.
So it didn't take all that long. When I recall, I went up to the office. It was on 101st First Street in the city. They had that company had the office there, and I went in there and plunked so much money every 2 weeks, or every 2 months down. When I came in,
Yeah.
I had two months
Paycheck.
checks,
Yeah.
and I plunked them down. And I recall the last month, or the last pay, I went in there and it says, "Here, that's the last time I see you guys, and good riddance."
And that's when you paid off the house.
And I paid off the house.
Must have been a good feeling.
It made me damn good feelings, yeah.
So then, so I guess because it's an interesting thing, because like I said, I work with a lot of guys in the oil patch, and like no one really enjoys, working, 40, 50 days in the middle of the bush, the desert.
Yeah.
And I guess it's like that, it was so nice to have grandma who did such a great job raising the kids, right? Because when did you stop doing the oil and gas where you would go on your hitches? Like, when did you decide to, like, hey, I want to be more at home? How old were you and how old were the kids?
I went 20 years
20 years
foreign.
And
then
how old were you when you stopped? So you were 50 when you stopped?
I was
45?
I was in the 60s.
You were 60 when you stopped doing oil and gas?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
So when I was born, were you still running Saudi, or were you in Alaska?
I think I was still there. Yes. Yes.
Oh.